We're now recording. And so we're here, let your voice be heard, and we're going to hear some exciting news from Jasmine on some cutting edge of some new technology concerning complex regional pain syndrome, formerly known as RSD, reflex sympathetic dystrophy. And we are going to talk to Jasmine's mother and her husband and her sister, and that to see what it's like from on their end of how they see complex regional pain syndrome and some of the things that they do to try to help and whatever else they want to add. So if you want to introduce yourself, you can, or you can be anonymous. Jasmine's mom. Okay, so you can go ahead and start if you like. Tell us what it's like for your daughter having CRPS, and what is it like for you being on the receiving end?
All right. Yes, I'd be happy to address that. My name's Maria, and I'm happy to respond to anybody who has questions, and they can contact my daughter, and we can get you any answers that you need. I certainly am willing to be part of the CRPS outreach efforts. I think it's so important that the CRPS community communicate and support each other and help each other with information. So, it's not like having tonsillitis or something. I mean, it's something where there needs to be a community effort to talk about new treatments, new cures, and new options for people who have this condition.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and what I can tell you about my experience, I have to cast my mind back a bit because Jasmine is now 26, and this is something that happened happened around 15 years ago. So she was injured where she had an avulsion fracture, was quite small. That's a fracture where the tendon pulls off of the bone and takes a little, piece of bone with it, and that seemed to heal up just fine in terms of the objective tests that they could do with X-rays. But yet she had ongoing pain, and my recollection is that it was intermittent, but it was pretty doggone severe. And as I am sure is true of a lot of parents of children with CRPS, is that it takes a long time to diagnose, and it's quite a process. So what happened with Jasmine is that we were a member of an HMO, and I think that they did X-rays, they did a referral to a podiatrist, they did, I think, an MRI. In fact, I remember that they did an MRI that really wasn't showing much of anything, and I had the referral to the podiatrist, and then there was going to be a referral to an orthopedic surgeon who was going to scope the ankle and foot area and, kind of do exploratory, scope it out and see if they could find any kind of internal derangement. So that seemed to be the next step, and of course this all took quite a while. And in the meantime, Jasmine is going through some periods where she's not hurting so bad, but then other periods where she's just on crutches and not able to wait there on her injured foot and ankle. Somebody, I believe it was a family member, said rather than having the scope of the ankle and surgery, I think you should have a consultation up at Children's Hospital in Seattle. It's about an hour away from us. It's the closest really big city. And getting that consultation up at Children's was the best thing that we ever did. So it turns out that Children's Hospital is one of just a very few, like maybe even only 2 or 3 national centers that concentrates on juvenile onset CRPS. So it was just our good luck that we live 60 miles away from this center, and it's just my good luck that I happened to ask for a referral up there, and then just our good luck that we got a consultation with a doctor up there who was familiar with what they were doing at Children's with regard to juvenile onset CRPS, and was actually able to give us a diagnosis. The reason why I say that's so amazing is because that doctor told us that usually by the time they get juvenile CRPS patients from all over the country, by the way, Minneapolis or wherever, they end up as patients in their hospital, children, and they're by that time addicted to narcotics. They have had exploratory surgeries that have been failures, obviously, and have made them worse. And, surgery at that site is about the worst thing that you can do for a CRPS patient, but yet that's a very normal medical protocol to just, take a look and see what's wrong with a knee or whatever.
Right.
So a lot of kids, by the time children got them, were really had very, very severe CRPS symptoms. And luckily, Jasmine was not in that category at that time.
Yeah, and it's people need to know that, having complex regional pain syndrome, CRPS, many doctors are very unfamiliar with it, and if some of them say that they do know, they really don't have a clue what they're doing with us, and it's a blessing when you find a doctor that knows, if you have CRPS, no surgeries whatsoever unless it's a medical necessity because it can make the disease spread. And a lot of times,
that's right,
the disease is not.
I have 2 tears in my meniscus that no one will operate on because I have CRPS there. So.
Right, and the problem also is that when a child, even an adult, when they have CRPS, it usually takes them a few years before they even get really diagnosed, and that by that time it's really hard to be reversed. And not that I'm saying that there is a specific cure for that or nothing. There's no cure, but if they don't hit it aggressively enough the first couple years, especially the first year, then you can plan on most likely having it spread.
Yes, I think that's very good and valuable information, is to not to proceed with these interventions until you have a very firm diagnosis. And luckily, Jasmine was able to get early intervention. I don't remember when it was, maybe a year after the condition set in. And what it was very strenuous physical therapy. And it was very painful for her to go through this process, but the idea was a desensitization protocol, and it worked well with juvenile onset CRPS patients, where they just had her run on that foot, they had her do all kinds of things, rubbed it with a towel, and did all kinds of desensitization. And that very hardcore physical therapy regime that she went through was quite successful.
Right.
And it lasted for, kind of off and on for a number of years, and enough so that she was able to have a fairly normal, rest of her childhood and adolescence.
One thing that people need to realize, I'm sorry, but one thing people need to realize, though, what works for one may not work for another, but the one thing is that we do know for sure that if we keep touching it, we have to keep touching it to help try to desensitize it, because if you don't, it's going to be very difficult to have others touch it, and that, even though it hurts in the beginning, this illness is 45 on the McGill scale. That's a medical scale for pain that they use to measure pain, cancer, amputation, and so forth. And cancer and amputation's right below that, and CRPS is very, very, very painful. It's a pain that's out of this world, and it can consist of multiple things, of burning and feeling like stabbing, electrical shocks, cramps, and the list goes on. And when I say burning, I'm talking about it feels like 1,000 bees stinging you, or being, stung literally on fire. But I just wanted to throw that in.
Or it feels freezing,
Yes.
On the other end of the spectrum, it just feels so cold. And,
yes.
Obviously I don't know from firsthand experience, but that's one thing that Jasmine has complained of a lot, is just the extreme cold pain in her
It's
foot.
almost like blue ice. That's the best way I can describe it, is a blue ice. If you've ever seen crystal blue ice, true ice, that's exactly the way it feels to us. And just imagine, if somebody can't understand what it is, I would suggest that if you wanted to know sort of what it feels like, the closest thing that you could do to come to it is put your hand in a bucket of ice and leave it there as long as you can. And then when you bring it out, it's going to prick, it's going to hurt, it's going to sting, and that's the closest I can think of to come towards what it feels like.
Well, that's a very good description, and it makes my hand just hurt just even thinking about it.
I apologize.
Yeah, that's kind of a graphic way to describe it. So, anyway, in terms of Jasmine's treatment, it was kind of off and on, and as a parent, of course, I felt badly for my child to have this condition, but I also kind of felt like, all right, here she is, this is what she has, let's just deal with it. And it was not such a debilitating thing that, it was just breaking my heart every day because she was lying on the couch and unable to get up or something like that. So we found a wonderful doctor, and as it got worse later on in her adolescence, then we were able to kind of keep up with it, stay on top of it with the really cutting-edge imaginative treatments that this doctor at Swedish Hospital Pain Center up in Seattle came up with. And he came up with capsaicin treatments, he came up with ketamine infusions. He really was able to keep up with treatments and also with a good medication regime with Lyrica and gabapentin for the nerve pain. So, for years he was able to kind of stave it off and keep her going until finally he ran out of options and suggested a spinal stimulator implant, which she ended up receiving. So it's gotten worse since she has been out of the house and, been an adult. And I can let you, she can take it from there, but in a nutshell, that's kind of my experience, that the parent has to be an advocate for the child and has to really search out specialists, even if they end up being 60 miles away or 600 miles away. They're few and far between, and you're going to have to search them out, but it's going to be worth it to search them out.
Let's talk about this real quick before you go, if you don't mind. I'd like to know what was it like as a mother to handle this in an everyday situation, and what could you suggest to other parents that might, other than what you have already, help on a daily basis? Or, I know a lot of these parents, they have children, they have to work, and some of them are single parents, and they don't, ketamine is not really an option in some of these treatments are not optional for many patients. Because they don't offer it in their area, or not enough people have been educated on this. I know that they're starting ketamine for depression and that, but they some areas just will not, like my area does not do ketamine, or insurances won't pay for it. We have that problem too, and now the opiates and things, pain medications have been taken away. But tell us what it's like as a parent, and what was it like, your daily basis, and how do you think that other parents can help their children besides what you've already said?
Well, here's the way that I think about it, and that is that children come as they are, and your job as a parent is to accept them the way that they are. And I've heard parents say things like, I didn't sign up for this. Well, and I think, yes, you did. You signed up for exactly this. And it doesn't matter what you had in mind as your fantasy for your child. You have this child, and your job is to support that child and give that child unconditional love. And you need to step up as a parent. And you need to, the child needs what they need, and it's your job as the adult and as the parent to step up and make sure that their needs are being met, even if it's difficult, even if society is not giving you the support that you need, if insurance is not giving you the support that you need. You are your child's advocate, and you are their, really when it comes down to it, their only advocate. They cannot speak for themselves. They cannot get in the car and drive themselves to Seattle. You have to be the one that is the mover and shaker. And so you have to step up, take responsibility, and do it.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. And I just wanted to say, even anybody with CRPS, that's a challenge. I mean, even if you're not a child, trying to get to doctors, trying to be an advocate, because the pain many times is so high that it stops you from making logical decisions and sorting things out. I mean, if you're not getting pain management, you're sort of lost in the process. And we lose so many people, CRPS, because of this reason. It's really important for society to step up and educate themselves about this, because they always say, oh, it's not going to happen to me. Well, you know what? The next thing you know, few years down the road, it's in your backyard if it's not you.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And for a family member or a spouse or a parent that has unconditional love for someone with CRPS, make sure it's unconditional. Make sure that you're getting them what they need. That doesn't mean you have to ignore your own needs, but you need to be empathetic and you need to understand what they're going through. And it's hard, but it's not. It's about them, and
That's
especially
right.
when it's your child.
Right.
So, I think it's very hard, and maybe parents can also band together somewhat with parent support groups. I never had that or explored it, but there may be some value in just having a community of parents that is going through the same thing that you are and may have suggestions.
That's true. And sometimes you want a place to go to vent or be able to figure out things. And when they get into groups and things like that, I mean, there's plenty of them out here on Facebook. There's some on Google. You can find them if you research them. Go to RSDSA. There's a lot of organizations out there. But one of the things is just... I forgot where my point was. See what I mean? What the CRPS does to you, fog brain.
Well, just that support groups are valuable and they're out there.
Oh, yeah, that's my point. Yes, they support groups, if you need them, are really good to have, because it's a place where you can vent. It's a place where other people know what you're going through, and you can find suggestions there, other things that you didn't think of. People... that's why we look at all points of view in that, because, it might be something that you're missing that you're not seeing. And being an advocate for a person with CRPS is very important. If you love that person, or if it's your child or whatever it is, we need people to step up and help us through this, because it is a challenge. And whoever has CRPS, and if you know somebody that does, you'll know that it doesn't only affect them, it affects everything, and I call it no stone unturned. So sometimes, it can, spouses and things can get very frustrated and angry and don't know what to do with those emotions. So you need to find support groups to help you if you really need it. But please, don't turn away from the person that has CRPS, because they really need you. They need you as a friend. They need you as a confidant. They need you to just give a hug once in a while. And if that hurts them, ask them first before you touch them, because it's really important. Lights, noise, there's all kinds of things.
Good point. You don't get too vigorous and actually hurt the person.
That's right. That's right.
Also, I kind of sailed a little bit through her childhood and adolescence. Partly ignorance was on my side, because I didn't quite understand serious dimension and the permanency of the condition. And I just thought, oh, okay, she's better now, and she's able to do what she wants. So, and then if she get a little worse, well, we'll go deal with that, you know. And I didn't really quite understand that it could be progressive and how bad it could be.
Right, and it's really hard for other people to understand that, because people, when you talk about pain, other people think about it as their pain, the pain that they have experienced, and that's really hard to understand something if you're not there, and you think, oh, I've had that, you know, some pain like that, and no big deal. I have a friend that I've been friends with 25 years, and he said I asked him to stay with him because I needed help, and at one point he told me, he said, I thought that you were going to get better. I didn't realize how serious it really is. And when I see you walking around, I think, oh, okay, now you're doing better. And next thing I know, you're down and you're changing from one moment to the next. And he was blown away. He's like, after 6 years, he's like, okay, we know now that it's not getting better. It's really hard if you don't.
And there may be good future treatments. So I'm not saying there isn't hope, and there's also hope for people with current treatments, because there are some things that can be tried and things that have been helpful to a lot of CRPS patients. So it's not like, oh gee, there's nothing to be done. There is, and Jasmine has tried them all at this point, and some of them have been very helpful, and some have been helpful at one period in their life and not others. But there is hope out there for CRPS patients, but it's hard when you're going through that on just a day-by-day, 24-hour-a-day basis. It's hard to remember that.
Yeah.
About how, Mom, can you talk a bit about how it makes you feel to have a kid who's just hurting all the time, and a kid who might be an adult or adolescent or child or whatever time it affected you the most? Well, I think that's going to vary from parent to parent. Here's how it affected me, is that sometimes I would just, it would just break my heart to think about my daughter having to undergo a surgery or being in such terrible pain. But most of the time, I kind of felt like, okay, this is the way she is, I accept her the way she is. And this is the way she is, and we're going to deal with it, and we're going to deal with it together. So most of the time, I felt kind of acceptance of what the limitations were, and I tried to gain an understanding of, and not be impatient with, somebody who might be in a bad mood because they were in pain, or wasn't able to get out of bed and go do whatever I wanted to do, or, I tried to be understanding and just kind of accept it like, okay, this is what this is today.
So what is the driving force behind you being so positive with her? What is that? What drives you?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I never thought about it. What do you think, Jasmine? Do you have any ideas on that?
I think that both of us are just highly motivated people who also happen to be very stubborn. And when you get that combination of factors, you just don't give up on things that limit you.
Yeah, type A personalities. And that's another good point. Most people with complex regional pain syndrome
all the time,
are
but
type
neither
A.
one of us wants to be limited or told that we can't do things. So I think that it was always just in our minds that we would not necessarily cure it, but we'd always live the best life possible regardless of what my diagnosis happened to bring to me.
That is awesome.
So I went to college and no one really knew anything about it. I mean, I walked kind of like a normal person, or enough with a limp that you couldn't tell. And I was pretty normal up until I was in a wheelchair, according to everyone who saw me, And I think we just always knew that we would do whatever it took to keep it that way.
That's
Make me as
awesome.
functional as possible.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you, Jasmine's mom, Maureen. Did I say it right?
Maria.
Maria.
Yeah.
There you go,
Yeah.
Maria.
Oh, it was my pleasure. And, if I can be of any help to any parents out there, then they should just contact Jasmine, and I'm sure, Jasmine, you're going to give your contact information on the show. And if I can be of any help to anyone, I just am more than happy to do any kind of outreach that I can. This is a cause that's near and dear to my heart and one that needs more publicity and more outreach.
Well, maybe we should get you to start your own little group for parents with children with CRPS. You've been there, you've had experience. That would be a great calling for you because there's a lot of parents out there that are searching for education and how to deal with this issue. So
there will also be a chapter in my book that's coming out next year it's a how-to guide for CRPS patients. It's a simplified version of my master's thesis, and I'll be interviewing my mom for that as well. So there'll be kind of an in-depth study and tips for parents in there.
Oh, that would be great. You know,
Yeah.
you should get your mom to write a little paper too on all the little details that she could share. That would be interesting. I'd love.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't wait to read it. Well, thank you very much, Maria.
It's my pleasure.
Marina, please forgive me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's so nice to talk to you, and I appreciate you having me on this very much, and just wish everyone with CRPS all the best.
Oh, thank you.
And Merry Christmas. Thanks for coming on, Mom.
Thank you so
You bet.
much.
All right. Goodbye now.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, so we are going to move to your sister.
Sure. Sounds good.
Please.
This is Julia. We haven't been sisters all my life, but my mom got remarried when I was an early teenager, and we've been super, super close ever since. She's
Awesome.
visiting me down in Arizona right now, so.
That's awesome.
Hi there.
Hi. So why don't you tell us what it's like to be a family member, sister of someone that has complex regional pain syndrome, and how does it also affect you?
Okay. So, as she mentioned, haven't been there her entire life, but we started, being sisters in our teenhood, and at that time, she was still pretty able-bodied. We went on a lot of different adventures and vacations and stuff, and I was pretty much completely ignorant to the fact that she was in pain at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But I was aware of the injuries, the initial injury, and then, there were a lot of times where on those adventures I'd be seeing her struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't quite click until a little bit later on what was going on with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to see it. It's hard to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't possibly imagine what this must be like for somebody who doesn't have the support network and doesn't have the same kind of access to health care that she does. I mean, what is a person supposed to do in that situation? It's impossible.
It's tough.
So, it shakes me up. It's hard for me to watch. And through the years, watching her go from able-bodied to being in a wheelchair it's hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She got married September 9th, and I was her bridesmaid, her maid of honor, and that was a big deal.
It's awesome.
Through that experience, I saw her struggles, but,
So,
obviously the event and the experience at hand was so much more important that she played through the pain.
Mm-hmm.
She did really well. She stood up for all those pictures, and
mm-hmm.
she even stood at the altar, and
It's awesome.
she walked down the aisle, and it brought tears to everybody's eyes. It was
Aww.
incredible.
It's awesome. So, as a sibling, I mean, you're still her sibling. I mean, what could you tell others to look for and how they can help? And we know that, as you said, it's very, very tough to watch. And many times when it gets so tough to watch that people isolate us, and they don't mean to, but it happens because it is painful to watch. It's very hard to see somebody you love going in that type of pain.
Yes.
Tell us how you dealt with that issue.
Well, you were saying, what to look for, and Maria touched on that too,
you can't take anything personally when somebody's in pain. Okay, you know, if they're upset, it's because of the pain.
Right.
You just have to be patient. You have to understand, and it gets easier. You know, it gets easier as you come to understand CRPS and as you come to understand the person and what they're dealing with, because it's apparent to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's apparent that she's in pain, and my best advice to anybody is to just be there for them and assist them gently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't be so firm and in their face about it, because they want to help themselves too.
Mm-hmm. You brought up a good point too, you know, and so did Miriam. Your mom. She, yeah, you guys, when somebody's in pain, that kind of pain, that pain it's not of this world. I can testify to that. Never thought that kind of pain could is ever imaginable. But one of the things that we deal with when we're in that type of pain and we're not sure how to act, some of us get angry, and because our life is gone, it's upside down. It's changed from one moment to the next. We never know what kind of roller coaster we're going to ride from second to second. And sometimes we do get angry and people are trying to help us, and we try to keep everything inside, but sometimes that doesn't work so well. And it's really great that you and your mom are very, very supportive, and that's it's really important. I mean, and people that don't know what to do, please reach out, get some counseling, find somebody that knows something about this, because we can't do it on our own. We just can't. We need you guys, and I'm very grateful that she has you guys. It's truly a blessing, and it really warms my heart, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk and to help her and help understand this illness. Try the best that you can. We just don't appreciate it enough, and we do love you guys and everything else that help us in that. You guys have no idea how much we appreciate it. I want to thank you so much for being there for her as much as you can.
Of course. You know, I wouldn't have it any other way. It would drive me crazy if I didn't know what was going on with her. If you know, we got in some crazy fight or something and we weren't talking, I'd always be wondering, is she in pain? Is she getting better? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I have to be in contact with her. It would drive me crazy.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to us and that. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
You know, I just gotta say that I wish the best for anybody who is suffering with this illness, and I really hope that you explore all avenues, all possibilities, and don't give up.
Amen. Amen.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, for you out there, there is hope for this illness. You can't give up. Talk to somebody, seek something. If one thing don't work, try another. Make a list and of all the things that you can find to help you get through those tough times, because you're going to need that list, and find your distractions when you're in that kind of pain. I don't care if maybe it's music or drawing or something, some kind of craft, or talking to a friend. There is hope out there. We just can't give up, and the research has come a way since 6 years. I have seen people being more educated. We just need to go further with it to help more people and make sure that people are trying to get or being able to get the treatments that they need. And these invasive procedures that they're doing, for me personally, my experience is in the long run, it may give temporary relief and maybe a second, it may not work. But in the long run, these invasive procedures are hurting us. They're causing more damage down the road. That's my opinion, my experience. Okay, so we have...
every device. I think that that's true for a lot of people if it causes a spread, but you have to weigh the statistical risk of spreading against the statistical probability of pain relief, and I think it's different for every person. Personally, I have 2 different spinal cord implants, which requires a lot of invasive surgery. I just had one a couple weeks ago that I'm still recovering from. But my spinal stimulator has provided me a huge amount of relief over the last 2 years. And this CRG implant that I just got a couple weeks ago, I've only had it turned on for a week, but I'm already, my husband says that I'm limping less and my limp is less obvious. And I'm also walking around because I can't kneel because of the incisions in my back. And so my balance is getting better, even though I'm still pretty slow. And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with it. For anyone listening, I would recommend talking with your doctor about the DRG, the dorsal root ganglion implant. I didn't really know what to expect from it, and you can't feel it, which is great. There's no annoying sensation, and the battery lasts for 5 years. You don't have to charge it. It's been a really good experience so far.
Hi. Hello?
Oh, you hear me?
Yes, I thought somebody came on. Did somebody join us?
Yeah, I didn't know this was live on the phone. Is this Jasmine?
This is Maria,
Yeah,
but Jasmine's with us.
I'm sorry?
I
I was just calling the number I saw for the CRPS.
Yes.
Talk with Jasmine at 5. That's what I thought I was getting
Yes.
to.
Well, we're going to get ready to
Is that
talk to
it?
her husband, and
We're on
Jasmine's...
air right now. If you'd like to talk to me privately, I can do that right afterward, too. Okay, so you're fixing to do it?
Yeah, she's going to be telling her
How do I
story.
get on there to do it? What do I do? I don't know how to do all this.
You're all right. You're with us right now. All you have to
Oh,
do...
okay.
Well, Jasmine's husband's going to come on. We're going to talk to him for a few minutes, and then we're going to have Jasmine tell her story. And you can ask her questions if you want after we talk to her husband real quick. How's that?
That's fine.
Okay, great. Just sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Hello?
Hi, are you still there?
Yeah, we're still here. I'm waiting on Jasmine's husband.
Oh, okay. So this is Jeff. We just got married a couple months ago, but we've been together for 5 years. 5.5 years, I guess.
Yay! Congratulations.
Yeah, it was awesome. And he is definitely my other half, and I wouldn't be able to survive having this disorder with nearly the amount of joy that I have if it weren't for him. So I'm very grateful.
You know what? I want to point out a really important thing that you were just talking about, Jasmine, real quick. Let's just touch on it real quick before I forget. There is hope out there for you guys that think that there's no one out there that will love you for this CRPS. If you don't have to be alone, you can still have a happy life. Jasmine, I mean, yeah, you know, you just got married, and he must be a special man.
Oh, yeah. He's special. He's known that I have CRPS since the night that we met, actually. Even though it wasn't as debilitating at the time.
And he stayed with you through the whole thing. And married you.
Well, yeah, she's a great person. The disease is really just, I mean, we all have baggage, I figure, you know, life is easier if you have someone to help carry it, so.
That is awesome.
I mean,
yes, because I've heard
she carries my
many times.
baggage along with her, and, you know, I carry hers. It's kind of a give take.
That is awesome. You know, Jeff, I hear many times out there about women that I have a group that is just women, and I hear many times that the women say that they wish they could get married or have somebody to love and so forth, and they give up hope. What would you say to that?
But, you know, Jeb gets you know, this is actually a common conversation topic that kind of comes up within her groups and whatnot. And I know Jazz, you know, it has nothing to do with, you know, her disorder. If you're focused on a disorder, then it's just going to be the center of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I accept that she has something that will, you know, cause us to run our lives a little differently than what I may have had it, you know, planned when I was younger. Mm-hmm. But then again, she also had things that, that I'm sure parts of, my past or my life, I'm a father of 16 or soon to be 16 year old. And so that's something that she picks up also. So I mean, it's give take, and so you don't want to give up hope just because one person's too vain to think about a symptom and ignore their own symptoms, whatever it might be in life.
Exactly.
So just because we have to do things a little differently than others, we still have a very full life. I mean, we travel a lot. We do what we can. We just accommodate the disease. We have to manage it. That doesn't stop us from living, though.
That's awesome.
No, we have a enjoyable life, and I think a full and joyful life is possible for anyone. I met Jeff completely by random chance, and he's 12 years older than me. At the time, everyone thought it was a little bit of an odd match, and then over the last 5 years, everyone in both of our families has just fallen in love with each other. It was a match made in heaven. So I think that no matter what day, every day that you wake up is another day that you have a chance to find something that really turns your life around. So there's never a reason to give up hope. They're really perfect for each other. So that was my sister in the background yelling, they're really perfect for each other. Trust me.
So, Jeff, tell us what it's like to be a husband with someone with CRPS. What are some of the challenges that you have seen with going through this with Jasmine, and what do you suggest to help others in this type of situation, their spouses?
Honestly, I think the only thing the most important thing is patience. I think without it, I don't know how anyone could get through day to day, functioning. You have to just have patience. Sometimes it's with the disease, sometimes it'll be because of a flare up, or sometimes it'll be because of side effects to medicine or something like that might cause someone to be a little bit harder to manage. So it's just little things come with the territory. I grew up the oldest of 12 kids, so I've got a PhD basically when it comes to patience.
After 12 kids, I guess.
I think I think that helps a lot. I think without it, it would be a lot harder. But yeah, as far as struggles go, everything's a struggle. Whether it be just going through what would for most people to go to a doctor, it's never typically an issue. You go to the doctor, you get sent home. Usually, it's with a script or whatever you might need. And every time with Jazz, it's typically a challenge. People don't know what to do. They're afraid to do things.
So let me ask you this.
Just all kinds of stuff. It's hard to watch your wife be labeled and kind of just, treated like an interesting question or an interesting case instead of, a patient. And so again, take patience with not being angry with people for not trying harder.
A lot of happy relationships in general is proactivity, and it's especially crucial with relationships with CRPS patients. You need to make sure that you stay on your medication schedules. He helps me with alarms on his phone and stuff, telling me when I need to take medication. We're thinking of starting a family soon, so we're proactive about looking for solutions for parents in wheelchairs and baby carriers that are attached to wheelchairs and things, even though we're months and months away from even needing to think about that yet. I think there's a lot that goes into any happy relationships is long-term planning together and being proactive about your future, and I think Jeff really helps me accomplish that.
So, Jeff, let me ask you this. I take it that you work a full-time job, right?
Are you talking to me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I own my own contracting business. Landscape contract.
Okay. So you're the owner.
If it wasn't for that, actually, I wouldn't have the flexibility in my
right. So that's what my question.
Because there's quite a bit of things that happen. Especially right now during bed rest times and things, or and a lot of times she'll be able to fit into a thing on a day's notice or 2 days notice. So it helps that I can make my own schedule. sure it gets stuff there.
So, I was going to ask you how you balance that, but I mean, having your own business, I'm sure that at times it sort of has a conflict to it. How would you, or what would you say to husbands or wives that are dealing with this type of situation and maybe they don't have their own business? What could you offer them to tell them?
Well, being vocal with each other, just talking about it, figuring out what, for example, we purposely try to schedule her appointments at certain times of the day, like in the afternoon, for an example, because most of my work, let's say, even if I had overly busy, like during the summer or something like that, if I'm working 6 days that week or whatever, I'm typically at work from 4 a.m. until 1, and that's my schedule.
So we live in Arizona, so everything's done really early in the morning when you're a landscaper. So when you're working on contracting,
I think it's really hot out here, just what she's saying.
Yeah, I understand. I'm from South Carolina,
yeah,
to
we
Texas.
just have to talk to each other, find out, work out the problem. And, every problem has a solution, or at least a road to a solution. You just have to keep trying. And, sometimes you're going to, take the wrong route, but, eventually you'll get there.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Jeff, so with complex regional pain syndrome, many times we get depressed. Now, I mean, you don't have to talk about this or anything else, but does that happen with you or her? And if so, how do you guys deal with that issue?
Actually, that's a pretty good question. Depression is it's a really sucky part of any kind of, it's a really sucky part of this, disease. But also because any kind of help that they try to offer people with this disease also has the side effects of depression. So you've got like a megafold depression that happens sometimes, and it's hard. I don't know. You just have to, like I said earlier, be patient. You just have to kind of wait it out. I'm a very, like I said earlier, I'm the oldest of 12. I'm a get problems done kind of guy, or fix kind of guy. I love to fix problems, but it sucks not having a solution to it sometimes. So, or at least a clear road to it. So it's a lot of trial and error.
Okay.
Some days it'll be, being supportive, being talkative, and right there for her, or some days it'll be letting her cry on my shoulder, or...
Are there certain tools that you guys use?
It's different every day and every time because, it's a tricky... It's a tricky little thing, depression.
Is there tools that you have set up in place to try this or try that when this happens?
Yeah, actually, I find that distraction work a lot with Jazz. Jazz is a phenomenal word wizard. So we try little tricks. With her, I'll find having her read out loud to me is a good way. So, like, in fact, I don't think I'd ever read a book from cover to cover other than being forced to in school my entire life. So but she'll, we'll start a new novel or a book or something like that. And when she starts having one of those kind of dad days or whatever, we'll read. Or sometimes it's as simple as playing a board game, and then sometimes it's just letting her be by herself and not trying your best not to keep trying to fix it. That's the hardest. I think that's the hardest one. Is knowing that sometimes you have to let it play its course, and there's nothing you can do about that except for make sure that they understand that you're still there.
I know
just because, like, she has her office. If she's having a bad day, she can go to her office or whatever, and I'm a wall away. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know
that's about all you can really do with this, because when it comes to depression, I don't know if there's really any easy answer to it.
I know that it's really hard. When I see my partner and he looks at me at times, I can see it affecting him in his eyes. The pain that he's feeling, and that makes it really hard on me because I don't know what to do either at that point. I'm trying not to show my pain but he knows me so well, and when I see it in his eyes, then I have a problem dealing with it because it's more, even added more stress to me. Not that I don't want to see it, you know what I'm saying? I don't want him holding it in.
Oh, I absolutely know what you're saying. It's I don't know, it's hard not to show too much of your own emotion because you know how much they're already going through.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, because obviously, it's going to affect your husband or your wife or your partner, whoever it is, and that's by your side. Of course, it's going to affect them, but it's hard not to because they already are feeling depressed. Guilt comes with depression. You're going to feel guilty about a lot of things. You got everything going in your head when you're depressed. And,
absolutely.
So the last thing you need is that. But I guess I don't know. It's hard to keep a straight face. But that's really what you got to kind of do sometimes. Is I call it taking it to the team. Sometimes I guess you just kind of keep smiling in the face and do what you can do.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
I think a lot of couples go into every fight with the possibility that it will end the relationship, that they temporarily or lead to a break. There's always an out. And with us, we always knew from the first time, really, that we met each other, at least the first couple of weeks, that there wasn't going to be anyone else anyway. So I think if you're in love with someone, you go into every fight knowing that it's just going to resolve with you guys still going to sleep in the same bed at night and still loving each other the next day. So I think that having that firm commitment in mind is important all the time.
I hope that my
it's kind of like it's just kind of like work. Sometimes I'm gonna screw up on something I may not be entirely skilled at. Like let's say a marriage, since I've never done that before. But so each fight is kind of a learning experience, and that's going to happen, or each meltdown, or any kind of depressed, or even if it's not, even if it's just an everyday fight. Things are.
My
always
recorder.
A learning experience.
Just a moment. My recorder's flashing, and I don't know why. I hope I didn't lose anything. Hold on for just a minute. I'm sorry. There, we went to 2. So I've never had to do that before, but that's okay. We are going to work that out. I don't know why it's flashing. Okay. I pray that everything comes across here. Anyway. Okay. Thank you, Jeff, so much for sharing with us. And Jasmine, do you want to tell us your story now?
Oh, sure.
Thank you very much.
So it's, I don't know how much detail you want me to go into.
Whatever you want to share.
Say again?
Whatever you want to share, and tell us about this cutting edge new treatment.
Very cool. Okay. So I was diagnosed when I was 12. I think I was injured when I was 11, as my mom alluded to earlier. I got an avulsion fracture on my ankle when I was young. We were hiking, and odd as this sounds, I was stepped on by a llama. They thought that I had juvenile onset multiple sclerosis, which was not an accurate diagnosis, but really freaked us out for a time. And then after that really intense physical therapy program, which mind you was fairly brutal. If you're going to put your child through that, you have to be prepared for it to be a highly unpleasant experience for those of you. It took up a whole summer vacation. I didn't complain about it. I understood it was what I had to do, but it was unpleasant. Mm-hmm. So then as I got older, I did capsaicin treatment. I got all the nerve endings on my foot burned off with really red pepper oil that's very extremely high concentrations. Actually, at such high concentrations that it's considered a biohazard. They had nurses apply it in biohazard suits, which also kind of freaked me out as a kid. And then I was sent away to boarding school when I was 15, so there was a 2-year break in treatment where I didn't see any doctors, and I did a lot of farm work during that time, which hurt my leg more. And then when I got back from boarding school, I was 18. I started ketamine infusions, and I got 5 sets of ketamine infusions over the next 2 or 3 years, and then they just stopped being effective. I would say the last 2 were decreasing effectiveness, so my doctor just didn't say it was worth authorizing another one. Mm-hmm. We tried every medication over the years, and I have just a neurochemical issue where opiates make me extremely depressed, and I think there's restrictions on us getting narcotics because I don't want the narcotics to begin with. They make me feel like crap, and I would really rather not use them, much less jump through a bunch of hoops to get them. So at any rate, they've tried every pain medication pretty much that the FDA has approved since before I was 24. And just not point to it. I'm on just pain medications, and I'm on muscle relaxers, and I'm on have prescriptions for opiates that I use extremely rarely on days when I just can't take the pain at all, or after surgeries like this last week or two.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, medication is an imperfect route to go, especially now with the DEA cracking down on everything that we try and do to help ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got older, I was lucky enough to meet Jeff when I was 21, and we moved in together, so he was able to help me out a lot, and that was very much appreciated, especially for the 2 times that I've gotten spinal cord implants. So in 2015, when I was like 23 or 22 or something, I got a spinal cord neurostimulator from Medtronic, an MRI-based model, which anyone is free to contact me about either of these implants if you're interested in more information. And it helps me a certain amount. That one works by they have wires up through my spinal cord, and they put electrodes directly on the nerves that are affected by CRPS. So it's supposed to interrupt the pain signals before they reach your brain with an electric pulse. So the brain interprets that as a sort of buzzing sensation, and that's more soothing at least than having it hurt all the time, although it's kind of annoying that I have to feel it either way all the time. Then just a couple weeks ago, I got a DRG implant, which is a dorsal root ganglion implant. It's a smaller, at least, and the wires, there's not as many wires with it, but the battery pack is about the same size as the neurostimulator. And that was worked by putting a very specific electric pulse into the dorsal root ganglion at the base of the spine and kind of tricking your spinal cord into parsing out those false pain signals. I'm literally writing my master's in science on this particular subject, on cutting-edge CRPS research, and even I have no idea how it works. I couldn't tell you why it's able to parse out these signals, but there's somewhat miraculous technology coming out, which I think really restores my faith in our future as a community. I don't think that we have much longer to suffer without a cure or at least an effective treatment. Mm-hmm. And I know people have been saying that for a long time, but I earnestly believe that we're at the cusp of a biotechnological revolution that we will sincerely benefit from.
Mm-hmm.
So I've devoted, part of my story, I guess, involves my education. Since that's the direction I've chosen to take my life, is awareness and advocacy and education about this disorder, and also specifically lobbying genomic institutes to route more funding towards CRPS research. Mm-hmm. So for the last year and a half, I've been running a study on the inheritability of CRPS, and so far I've had about 2,500 CRPS patients worldwide participate in that. If you'd like to participate in that, you can also feel free to contact me. I would be happy to send anyone a link. Mm-hmm. And I hope to use the data from that study to convince genomic institutes to route more funding toward our cause. Genomics is the study of using altered genetic material, I guess, or altering your genes in order to achieve medical results. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm very interested in your study. Very much.
And that'll probably be used for a PhD. My master's thesis is more on my experience using myself as an experimental subject for CRPS treatments and researching cutting-edge treatments. And also I'm writing a book that will be published as a how-to guide for CRPS patients who are struggling to find answers.
Yeah, don't forget to give us that link and that once you get it. We'll put it up on the site.
I have another year left in my master's, so it'll be published in, 3 more quarters I have.
Okay, great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this cutting edge and the new device that you got?
Yeah, I'd love to. So it's called a DRG, which stands for dorsal root ganglion implant. It's manufactured by Abbott Medical, which is confusing because they were St. Jude Medical until just a couple months ago.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe earlier this year. They've changed their name recently, and now they are Abbott. So you can find more information on their website. It's pretty easy to navigate, actually, and tells you a lot about the device. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cutting edge. It's been authorized in Europe and I believe Australia for a few years, but it just got authorized by the FDA either late last year or early this year. I know that I was one of the first patients in Arizona to get one. That was just what the representative told me the other day. And I've had a really good experience so far. The representative, Tina, from the company, from Abbott, is really helpful and super knowledgeable. And the cool thing, one of the cool things about it is it's controlled by an iPod. It's controlled by Bluetooth. So on an iPod, you can control the settings. I have one wire, I guess, from my knee and one from my ankle that are attached to like very specific parts on the base of my spine. And I can change the pulse frequency, I don't really know what you call it. You can change the intensity of it, I guess, separately for the knee and the ankle, which is really helpful for when your pain levels dip or rise. And you don't split. It just kind of covers up the sensation without you noticing it. It hasn't cured me by any means, but my husband has noticed that I have less of a limp, and I feel like my life is less cold. And the really good thing, the good thing about it is that it's statistically proven to limit the risk of spreading. Nothing can eliminate your risk of developing CRPS once you have it elsewhere in your body, but this is good at limiting the risk of it spreading, which was really important to my husband and I before we started a family.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that it's working.
Actually, in conjunction with my other device, I would say don't be afraid to see how technologies can combine to benefit you, because there's no one clear answer for any of us, and I think everyone has a different combination of treatments that work for them. For me, it's not, they're not really manageable yet, I would say, but I'm also dealing with post-surgical pain, so hopefully that'll decrease in the next.
Yeah. And I notice your voice is starting to crack up. You're starting to be in pain.
Yeah, I just always take more medicine, but I'm all right.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming and telling your story. Jasmine, is there anything else you'd like to add?
If anyone has any questions, I know that it can be really confusing and scary trying to navigate not only the medical bureaucracy, but also just understanding the ramifications that this disorder can have in someone's life and also in the lives of people who love them. I know diagnoses like this can just shatter families and relationships. So if you're dealing with any kind of logistical or emotional crisis in terms of CRPS, I'd be happy to help. And I always keep everything confidential. I have a lot of CRPS patients contact me every week with questions that run spectrums that I would never even have imagined. So
that's
throw
awesome.
something at me and I will probably try and come up with a solution for you.
That's awesome. And we had somebody wanted to ask a question. Hello?
Oh, I don't know that they're still on.
Okay. All right. Well, Jasmine, thank you so much. And really appreciate it. And thank you again. I just can't tell you. I'm just so happy for you, and I'm looking forward to your book and that. And I love the support that you're getting. That is awesome. I wish all families were like that. But it's good to see that, gives hope that people don't have to be alone. So don't think that your life is over, because it's not. You just have to learn a different way of life. That's all.
Exactly, and everything is, I know this isn't really a word, everything is accommodatable. If
Yes.
there's anything my husband has taught me through his persistence in helping me, it's that even if you're in a lot of pain and you don't really rationally want someone to help you, there's always solutions out there that you can pursue. And if one doesn't work, that has no impact on whether the next one works.
That's right. That's exactly it.
It's always worth keeping trying.
That's right. And if anybody up there... Go ahead. Go ahead, Jasmine.
Oh, I said thank you, Maria. This was a wonderful experience, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and you have a great night.
Hi, Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Bye. And for anybody out there, if you need to get help, I ask you to call the suicide line, and they can help you. There's always hope. I thank you so much. Bye-bye.